Hello everyone, I'm your host Thomas28 and welcome back to Cuboid Outpost. Now then, with the introduction of osmium from the last chapter, we can finally start getting mechanized. And they even give us a free configurator. And it's going to be very useful for speeding up the production of all their stuff. Especially the main one, factories, factory smelting. Look, that'll do furnace. You guys have been great. But imagine one block that does it 8 times faster. So the first item on our list, the metallurgic infuser. The only thing that was stopping us was osmium. Now then, we're probably going to need to up our energy supply. We're also going to need steel, and is steel on this list? It is. It actually is on this list. Steel, enriched iron, steel dust, steel ingot. Enriched iron is a metallurgic infuser with carbon, which comes from coal, and a metallurgic infuser is the thing we just made. Perfect. So let's see, we probably will still need these. And slap this guy right here. Now I should have a couple of cables lying around. Yep, just 3. And now that we have access to steel, we'll be able to make some more. Now we're just going to need a very simple ingredient. Iron and coal. Boop, boop. To start making enriched iron, and then from the enriched iron we can produce steel. So it wants us to make 32, which will turn into 32 steel dust. How does steel dust turn into... Oh, so we take the enriched iron and we can add it again to make more steel grit. But then if we get 160 steel ingots, we can make a steel quantum singularity. So not too bad, not too bad. So we can make this go faster by just crafting a second one, getting even more coal, putting it here. Now if we tell this guy to import right input, and tell you to export on the left output, auto eject, it pushes the iron in here, and then we can enrich it again into steel. Perfect. Now let's see, these take 20 Fe per tick. Our entire energy supply is dependent on a single singularity generator, which we built at the beginning of the pack, which is generating, I don't even remember how much. Let's see, coal in a not so good. This is only doing 4 Fe per tick, so not too much. But now that we have a redstone singularity, we could just make a that'll do version to get 175 Fe per tick, and that should be good enough at least until we can make... We could probably make a gas burning generator, right? Yes, we can make gas burning generators, which will make it pretty easy. We already have all these materials. And you know Mekanism, the gas burning generator, is the most broken thing in the pack, so it's not actually going to be too difficult. Using 20 Fe per tick, do we even have enough power for this, now that I think about it? I think so, right? Oh, I know what it is. It's the not so in addition with the wind power and the solar panel. That's why we have enough power. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll let these run for a while to finish off this, and then it also wants us to make 32 control circuits, which is osmium and redstone. So since we do have the power available, let's go ahead and grab some cobblestone here. 1, 2, 3, and make another one of these. Put that back in there. Slap you right here. Grab our redstone and some more osmium so we can make some control circuits. Osmium. And we are pretty low on the osmium, so let's go ahead and make some more by grabbing our osmium quantum singularity and throwing it in here. We don't need the carbon nanotubes anymore. Now that we have the osmium, we'll go ahead and throw this in there for now. Carbon nanotubes in there. And now we have infinite osmium that we can start cooking up to keep making our mechanism items. And then the last one will need one more metallurgic infuser, iron and redstone, so we can make a ton of infused alloys. Now, the free runners will be nice, but honestly, we don't really walk that far in our base, so it's not like we're walking to anywhere important, but it'll be nice to have. So now we have infused alloys, steel grit, and basic control circuits. Now, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, it wants us to have 32 enriched iron. So I guess once this fills up, I should just let it fill up more to get 32, and we can actually finish off all the quests. Now, let's see, it should all be done. Enriched iron, steel grit, basic control circuits, infused alloy. Am I missing anything? Oh, we need to actually convert this into steel. Well, that's fine. 16, 16, 16, and 16. But now we have a whole bunch of stuff done, and we get even more, and even more. And now we can actually make a basic tier installer. To make things go even faster, basic tier installer. Doop, doop. Doop, 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 doop. And then well, these are all metallurgic infusers. Don't really need it, but I mean, it'll go faster. Because now we can do that, auto sort it, and now we can process 3 times as much. Now the energy use does also go up 3 times as much, but it's a small price to pay for efficiency. And now with the free runners crafted, throw them into the energy cube so they can get fully charged. They honestly don't store a lot of power, and I think there is a way to passively give it energy, but I usually just never make these. Mostly because like you have to use it over your regular armor, and you can upgrade it. I just never bother. But now that the steel is done, we can finish off that quest as well. Now I don't feel like I'm walking any faster. Do I have to do something with these? But now from here out, this is where the crafts start to get recursive. So making a basic infusion... I can't talk, right? Making the basic control circuit is easy, but then making the advanced one takes the basics, and then taking the elite one takes the advanced, and then making the ultimate ones takes the elite. So at this point, we're going to pivot, now that we have access to getting digital, and start working through AE2 and setting up our autocrafting. And the main goal I'm looking at is I want access to more AE2. That way, we can fully set up our quantum singularity generators to push all the outputs, store them in AE2, have AE2 then send all of the raw ores and materials to our Mekanism machines for the 3x ore processing, and then bring that back into AE2 for long-term storage, which is going to take a lot of work. So what they want you to do to accomplish making pure fluix is take the Certus you have, charge it, and then do the in-world, what's the word, combination? Transformation to make it, or if you already have the fluix dust, you can skip it and just turn it back into the crystal. But instead of doing that, we can actually take all these skystone dust that we already had and just sift this into materials using our emerald meshes, just like so. Just come over here, and I can't sift this? Why can't I not sift this? Am I silly? What did I forget? Okay, I'm just a little bit silly. So you have to take your skystone dust, turn that into skystone, and then you have to resmelt this into skystone block, and then you can sift the skystone block into the fluix crystals. So I missed a step there, that was my bad. So now that we have these skystone blocks, now we can sift these to get a bunch of materials. All sorts of it. Pure fluix, regular Certus, and regular fluix. Wait, I said fluix twice. Now, we're also going to have to sift a bunch of sand that I also forgot about. Let's see, are you blowing? You are, perfect. So let me grab some of the sand here. We could just come right here, build a little sand tower, break this one, put you there. That goes here, sand goes there, break that, and now we're haunting the sand to make more soul sand, because I need a ton of quartz. Luckily, bulk blasting and haunting and all that stuff is really fast, so we can actually do this really quickly over other sources, especially the witch water. If I had to make this much soul sand by hand using witch water, I think I would lose my mind. So first, we have to craft ourselves an inscriber, pretty standard stuff. And then, it wants us to also have a block of gold, diamond, quartz, and Certus. I'm not quite sure why. So let's read why. Please acknowledge that you accept the risks. At this point, make sure you have a working molecular assembler. Oh, molecular recycler, a working quantum transmutation chamber, a block of each, and by continuing with the survival guide, you are confirming you understand the risks. You might not have digital storage at the end of this if you mess up. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound pretty good. But we don't have a choice. We must press on. So we're going to remove our current ME storage and recycle it into 2 engineering processors. Now you can see getting the fluix cables is a pretty low chance, but we can actually craft these pretty easily, as they just take fluix and a quartz fiber, and we have a lot of Certus dust and glass. That's really not an issue. The issue is we could end up losing this forever. So this is going to be annoying. Anything we have in here, we're going to lose access to for a little while. Now, it's not too important. It's mostly stuff we can already get other ways. It's mostly just about the convenience. So first things first, remove the ME crafting terminal. Then remove the ME drive. Then I need to make a chest. Do I have a chest somewhere to store all this junk? Well, not junk, but I have a backpack. We can store it in there. That works for now. grab this, re-put the Fluke Smart cable, and hold the item storage cell. I'm going to replace this guy so we don't ever lose it. And now we have to recycle the ME crafting terminal and our inscriber. Oh, not the inscriber. And the ME drive. And there we go. The work is done. So now we have an engineering processor, which for some reason it's not picking up. There we go. And now we need to use it to recreate the inscriber press. So we can quantum transmute the processor and a block of diamond into the engineering press. So calculation processor and a block of diamond. That's the wrong thing. That one and that one. And I believe it's the calculation and the block of gold. Never mind. Block of quartz? No. Block of certus? Block of certus. So let's see. If this one's certus and this one's that. Recycled logic processor. Oh, we have to recycle the ME terminal next. Goodbye, ME terminal. This is the wrong machine. Goodbye, ME terminal. And we got lucky with 2 logic processors and the annihilation core. So now we have the inscriber engineering press, the inscriber calculation press. And now, to recreate the logic press, take this with a block of gold. This guy with a block of gold. What do I need the block of quartz for? Oh, it's going to be for recreating the silicon press. Interesting. I gotta say, this has been a very neat way to start AE2. Through recycling the items you had, and then rebuilding it from the ground up. There we go, the inscriber logic press. I don't know why it always takes a while to update, but now we can print new processors. At this point, you should have 3 of the 4 main inscriber presses. For the 4th one, you're going to need one of the printed processors, so you might as well make one of each right now. So grab our inscriber. Does this need power? It does. So now we should be able to just take these and use them to make stuff. So we're gonna need diamond, gold, and other stuff. Man, it's a good thing we have infinite amounts of those, otherwise this could have been very bad. Grab some diamonds. The gold is in our storage. Okay, we're gonna have to smelt some gold here. But now we can use this to inscribe, that's the right one. Engineering goes to diamonds. Grab the gold. Gold goes to logic, right? Yes, gold goes to logic. And calculation requires a certus. So 3 printed engineering, 3 printed calculation circuits, and now for 3 logic circuits. And 3, because we already had one. Oh wait, this one's already built. Never mind. There we go. Perfect. So now that we have those, we need to recreate the silicon press by quantum transmuting one of the printed versions with the block of quartz. So now we just need to put the block of quartz in here with a printed logic circuit, and this will make the silicon press. And oh, that's so annoying. I hate how it does that. If you try to reorganize your inventory in this machine, it kind of treats every single slot as available, and then it just ruins everything. But there we go, the inscriber silicon press. So now we have all 4 available to us, and we can redo AE2. So now to make this, we need silicon, which silicon is just nether quartz. So throw this one inside silicon. Where's my nether quartz? Right here. Turn this into silicon, and use that silicon to make our presses. And now that we have the printed silicon, we can combine everything together and remake the engineering press, the logic press, and the calculation. Wait, why do I keep saying press? They're just processors at this point. We already have this one, so let's go ahead and make the calculation to finish off the quest here. And that's it. We have completely rebuilt everything we need for AE2. So now we should be able to rebuild the ME terminal. And it's funny, I just realized I don't have a crafting table anywhere. Oak log into planks, planks into crafting table, and we'll place this guy in the kitchen. Now we should be able to craft this guy. Oh, we need a formation core. No problem. And we need a panel and another logic press. Okay, let's continue to make these. Grab this, you in there. I gotta say, this is the part I dislike about AE2. The initial setup takes quite a long time. So now we should be able to make everything. Make one panel. I hate how that's so annoying. It never wants to craft the way I would craft. Put that in there with this. Balance the grid. Grab the glass. Take out the glass. Use the glass to make 11 pages. We just need this one to make the illuminated panel. Combine into the ME terminal. Then to make this a crafting terminal, I'm going to need my crafting table. Oh, I'm going to need another one. Use this to make that, to rebuild the ME crafting terminal, Now all we have to do is rebuild the disk drive, which will take 2 engineering processors, which we have 1, so we're going to have to grab one more. This one, redstone, and printed silicon to remake the engineering processor. And now we should be able to, we need flux cables, which will take quartz fiber, which will take some more glass. Okay, it's a good thing I made more glass. Do this, do that one, this one, into flux, into the ME drive. Put this down, and now we can reinsert our item storage cell and regain all of our stuff. Nice. Woo, well done. By this stage, you should be back where you started. Just put the ME crafting terminal and the drive back where you took them, pop in the storage cell, and breathe a sigh of relief. The good news is now we can also look to expand our storage as well. So now we can make a new storage cell housing. It doesn't do anything, we have to plug stuff in, but then we get 2 to 4 more. Now we can work on making our ME storage components. And at this point, I think I'll make one more, not too expensive, it's a little annoying, but very doable. Because now we can make 3 1K storage components and finish off the quest. Give me free ones. Nice. It does give you free ones. Now it wants me to make this, and it's not an optional quest, so I guess we should make one anyway. We do have extras, so it's not a big deal. To make the 1K, now we can use that. Then using these ones, and I don't want to hit you, we can use these to make, where is it? This one. What am I missing? Oh, there we go. To make the 4K ME storage component and finish off that quest, and then plug this guy into the storage housing to make another 4K storage cell, and get this. And man, if it gave us one more, wait, how many did the quest reward? Oh, it's only 1 to 2. But we got 2, so I can just make one more 4K, and then we can make a 16K, finish off that one, and then go to 64. Which is pretty good. Go ahead and throw this in here. It's going to take a while, though, because we have to reinsert all this stuff, which is a little annoying. But after we do it the first couple times, we're going to fully automate the entire process. And now we can make one 16K ME storage component, combine that with the housing, which we should have a few. How can I sort by number of items? Descending, there we go. 16K ME storage cell, and throw that in there. And another quest completed. Now it's going to take a while to get up to the 64K because we have to craft 3 of these into 3 of these, which is doing the craft 9 times. Oh wait, no, and then we have to do it another 3 times to do this. So that's what, 27 crafts? It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. But then you get another one for free, which is very sweet. Let's go ahead and throw the rest in here. And let's see, the first thing I'm going to have to automate is this whole setup. Luckily though, since we have infinite resources and singularity generators, we should be able to passive the entire thing, assuming we can make a Certus, never mind, there's no Certus singularity, which means the only way we can get more Certus, seawater, interesting, is with Skystone. But Skystone can only be gotten from Skystone dust, which has to be sifted from dust. So I'm going to have to set up a fully automatic dust sifter so we can get more Skystone, so we can keep up with the production of our items. It's a bit weird you don't have access to a Certus singularity. You would think that's something available. Now I did take a look, and it's not possible to get flawless budding Certus quartz. So we're going to have to set up the automation to make the, what is it? We're going to set up the automation to grow Certus, and then regrow the block once it decays into the what is it called, the Certus quartz block. Because once it turns into a block, you can regrow it into the damaged by submerging it in water or seawater with charged Certus. Since everything else is fully automatic, we'll just set up, like, we can put it on a subnet so it just runs forever and keeps generating Certus quartz. That way we don't actually have to do the rest of the dust sieving. It works, it's just a little bit slow, although there are other ways to make it go faster. And now, after a couple hours of work, gaze upon my AE2 setup. It's glorious, it's wonderful, it's magical. It does everything I need, And that's about it. So as you can see, here is our processor automation. It fully prints engineering, calculation, and logic processors with no user input. Let me walk it through it. It's actually pretty simple, really. So we have a that'll do singularity resource generator in the back here, producing redstone. And we have a drawer that is taking the redstone and printed silicon, and a logistical sorter that is sorting them into each inscriber. So each inscriber can hold printed silicon and redstone from here, and the printed silicon is made in this inscriber here that is constantly getting fed Certus quartz dust in order to make our silicon. Then on the other side, we have another furnace here. This furnace takes in raw gold, and that is what is producing our logic presses. This one produces Certus, and this one is for our diamonds, and that is making the, what is this, printed calculation. And this one should be making engineering presses, but because I don't have the singularity resource generators fully connected to the ME system, they kind of ran out. But there is a pretty big backlog in here, and since we do have, you know, full stacks of one of each type, it doesn't really matter too much. Then over here, we have the fully automatic Certus quartz production with the ability to rebuild the Certus quartz block, which is pretty neat. As you can see, that works automatically. We have a fancy gold barrel storing the excess Certus, and then we have our throwing in water automation over here. Pretty standard stuff, pretty easy. And then we have this little bit of charging automation so it can produce charged Certus. Pretty standard stuff for AE2. We have our big block of molecular assemblers and pattern providers and our crafting storage. All pretty standard stuff. This is the only non-standard thing, just because we have infinite access to resources. I didn't have to build the on-demand version. If you ever have any question about applied energistics, luckily this version does have the index in here. So you can just go into example setups and then you can rebuild these yourself. Like see, here's the one for the advanced Certus farm. You could just follow the diagram, and it's pretty easy to follow since it's in 3D, which is quite nice. And then the only other thing I built to to facilitate the use was this guy over here. So now we have fully automatic dust production. So you can see here, we have another singularity resource generator making dust that gets piped into the deployer. The deployer then uses all the sieves, and the accumulator here picks up all the items and dumps it into these storage drawers. So now we have access to thousands upon thousands of Certus, glowstone, and other stuff, which is pretty neat, pretty handy. Then I did build a create boiler to power it, but then I got lazy and didn't add a resource generator to feed it infinite coal, so it's only running at the lowest heat level, but since one engine still produces 2048 SU and it doesn't overload the system, I didn't bother putting it back. If I need to add more stuff to create, then I'll probably just like fully automate the boiler here. Other than that though, I don't really think it's needed. So we can continue moving on. Now, if you do come into Appendix B squared away into Digital Applied Energistics, make sure you claim all of the rewards in the order because they give you a lot of free stuff. Once you make like Annihilation Cores, they give you more. Go all the way to the bottom. They give you more crafting storage, which is really nice. They don't give you more, cell storage, since that's included up here in the Getting Digital chapter. But it does make it handy for building out the infrastructure. Now, the only thing that is annoying is we don't have any access to string yet. We have to grow it, which we haven't been doing. So I kind of ran out of cables, which is why I decided to stop here for all of this. But once we get some more string, we can make some more smart cables. And also, there is a very big caveat I did not realize. If you come back to this appendix and come here, it actually tells you that channels are actually disabled in this pack. So you don't have to worry about the channel limit like we usually worry about. So what channels are, in case you don't know, as you can see here, when you highlight over a smart cable, it says 4 of 8 channels. Normally, Applied Energistics can only handle up to, not 8. So the controller each face does like 32 channels. The the regular smart cable can only handle 8. You can make the dense version that can handle 32. But every AE2 item, like a storage bus, takes up a channel. So normally you're limited by how many channels you can really supply to the controller, and that's kind of like your limiting factor. But we don't have to worry about that in this pack, so we can go ahead and be as spaghetti as we want. And now that the auto crafting setup is completed, that's going to make the rest of the mechanism chapter a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves some steel casing. But first, we can go ahead and make ourselves one steel singularity. So now we don't have to produce any more steel, we could just produce the dust infinitely and then have to resmelt it, which is pretty nice. So no more of this iron stuff. Throw that in here. Throw you back into the chest. And now that we have the AE storage fully set up, what we can do is now build a singularity resource generator for every single singularity and have it hooked up to the storage. That way we have access to infinite everything. So we can go ahead and craft 4 of these guys. And that gets us to enrichment. Now, why do we need enrichment? I think it's mostly just for the ultimate control circuit, which is required for what is left in the end. So kind of this old stuff is optional from what I understand. Like, it doesn't unlock anything, but the jetpack is nice just to have the ability to fly around. So next, it wants us to make a crusher, which will take 2 buckets of lava. Do I have buckets? I have 1 bucket. We're going to need 1 more bucket. Take our lava and make the crusher. Then we're going to need a precision sawmill, a energized smelter, which we already made, and the enrichment chamber. These are all pretty standard stuff. Not quite sure why we need the precision sawmill. I usually never make one, because I just never have like a need to like have sawdust, but maybe that'll change in this pack. And now that we have auto crafting set up, we can go ahead and add all of the extra control circuit patterns here to make them fully automatic. Now the only thing that is annoying with automation of Mekanism, if you only have the base level AE2, then making stuff like atomic alloy is a little bit annoying, mostly because of this guy, the infusing factory. Because advanced versions, well, not advanced versions, the add-ons of AE2 let you push to separate faces of a block, because as you can see, the infusing factory can accept from the red input and the yellow, which is the infusion stuff here. Since we don't have access to those add-ons in this pack, you kind of have to do a workaround if you want to fully automate it. Before we do that, though, it wants us to make an osmium compressor, which will take another bucket, and a purification chamber. And I think that's all like the basic machines. Then we can also start making the advanced factory. Once we fully automate reinforced alloy, we can do that. As you can see here, reinforced will take metallurgic infuser with diamond and infused alloy. Now it is funny, usually you want to be more efficient with your items, because diamond dust and enriched diamond give different amounts into the infusion factory itself. But since we have infinite diamonds, we really don't have to worry about that. You're losing efficiency, but since we can produce literally a stack of diamond like every couple seconds, it really doesn't matter too much. Now, to produce infused alloys fully automatically, what we're going to do is set up some automation with our basic infusion factory. So we're going to go ahead and place this guy right here on the ground. It doesn't really matter too much. And we will need to bring some cables along here, which... Actually, it doesn't matter if this connects, right? Is this connected to anything? No, this is just providing power, so we can actually just connect that like this. And it doesn't matter too much. Normally, I worry about like the connections here, but since we don't have... Since there's no limitation on channels, it doesn't really matter too much. It might break some stuff though, so I do have to be careful on some of this, but over here it's going to be fine. So all we have to do is put a pattern provider in here next to a barrel. So now the pattern provider, when we tell it to craft something, it's going to push into the barrel. And now that I think about it, before I forget, let me actually take this pattern provider, and we're going to rename it first. Now I've renamed it to Infusing Factory, and this is important because now when we come back to the main terminal over here and take a look at the pattern access terminal, it's renamed Infusing Factory. If you don't name it, it gets really confusing on like what all this stuff is. So naming it lets you, keep it really organized. Now it's quite funny, I have most of it fully set up, and theoretically it should work. I just didn't realize that our bottleneck was actually going to be lava production. Because in order to make refined obsidian dust and atomic alloy, we need obsidian. But to make obsidian, we need lava. And unless I'm missing something, it doesn't seem like there's an easy way to generate a lot of lava or obsidian. So I put together a magma crucible and a blast chiller together with a cobblestone resource generator to infinitely feed it cobblestone to make the lava, But this machine is really, really slow with 0 upgrades, so producing obsidian is also being really, really slow. Now you can see it is kind of working, so this infusion factory is full of redstone, this one's getting diamond, this one's also getting diamond, this one's supposed to be getting the refined obsidian, but at this time that I set it up, I think we have like 5 pieces of obsidian total, which is not quite enough. Yeah, we have 4. And then to make the obsidian dust, it should work if I do this. So if we run that, the obsidian should be going back here into the enrichment chamber to get enriched into enriched obsidian. It comes out, goes back in there. So now the obsidian is enriched into refined obsidian. Well, no, now it's obsidian dust, and now the obsidian dust has to go into this guy over here in order to make the refined version. So now if I request for refined, it should work, theoretically. We have 3. Why do I have 3? Where did one go? Now if we make this, make 3 of that, it should work. But where did the 4th one go? What takes obsidian dust? Okay, so obsidian dust went in here, got turned into refined. The refined then goes into this one. Okay, so it does work. So now theoretically, we need 40. We have 40, so we could make the atomic alloy. But it's still so slow, and the only way I can make it go faster are with thermal expansion upgrades. And we haven't even delved into that, so we should be able to make 1 though, to actually finish off the quest. Let me grab the blue, and we'll wait for this to finish. And grab the purple. And why aren't the quests completing? Oh, it wants us to have 16 of these. Can I make 16? Let's see, we have 9. So 9, that's 16 minus 9 is what number? I'll just make 10. And there we go, 34 reinforced alloy. But now we just gotta wait quite a while. Well, actually, we just need 6. And each obsidian nets you 4 obsidian dust. So maybe if I just do 12 of this, because that should craft, yeah, because 3 times 4 is 12. We might be able to make enough of these to finish off the quest, which only takes 6, and we already have 1, so we just need 5. Now, the only issue with the way I set it up is it kind of relies on the infusing stuff to always be stocked, so if it's never, if it's never not stocked, the system won't throw an error, it'll just wait a very long time. I just wish there was a faster way to do this, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems like the only way I can make obsidian generation go faster is just adding more magma crucibles and blast chillers, so we could just make more. But in the meantime, I have to fill this with upgrades, because if you take a look at the recipe for lava, it takes 200,000 RF to produce a bucket of lava, which takes a very long time, because we can only use 80 RF per tick, so we just need to make this go faster. So, in the meantime, I went ahead and set up a new deployer. Now we could throw a chute on here, resource generator, gravel, and now we can sift gravel, because this seems to be the only way we can get a few key resources, mostly being, let's see if it pops up here. Might have to upgrade these to the higher tier ones, but you can see we're rolling in new resources. We get diamonds, emerald, coal, iron pieces, lapis, a little bit of raw uranite, but what I wanted was not this. Fluorite. There was something specifically. Lead, that was it. I thought I was supposed to get lead out of this process. Gravel. Sifting. Emerald mesh. Lead pieces. It's a very small chance, but it is there. But I'm not seeing it yet. Oh, there's the lead. It's just not getting pulled out fast enough for generating too much resources. So we need to upgrade these transporters to a higher tier. So right click with the reinforced, and let's see, now it should be able to pull it fast enough. No, it doesn't seem like it can. It's still getting clogged a little bit. So maybe if I do a second one pulling from the side here, maybe now it can pull fast enough. And upgrade this. And that does seem to be working a little bit better. There's still going to be a backlog of some items, so that might just be because I need to add more drawers here. Well, after adding in the upgrades, it is still extremely slow. And I don't really see another way to make obsidian, because if you look here, I went through the JEI. Maybe someone knows of a better way to do this, but it doesn't seem like there's an easy way to make a large amount of obsidian, as even something like Industrial Foregoing has a machine that makes obsidian, but then it needs a lot of lava. And if we take a look at lava itself, there's only 5 tabs, and crucible melting is very slow. I guess laser drilling might be the key. I guess it depends on how fast you can make a laser drill the lava, but I'm not actually sure if this will work outside of the nether. And then I guess technically create can make lava, but it's a very small amount of lava at 50 millibuckets when we need a large amount of it. And then we have to have superheated blaze burners, which in itself is a pretty tedious process to set up. So I'm really not sure if there's like a more efficient way to do this. The only other thing I can think of is maybe once we have like this for a block of nitro crystal, like that would be a fast way to do it, but the rest of it seems really slow. Can't really think of a good way to make a lot of lava. Because if I could just generate lava really fast, then we could just throw it into the blast chiller and we wouldn't have a problem. But just making the lava is really slow. But now with 6 atomic alloy, we finish off that quest, and there's not too much left to do in the Mekanism chapter. We just need to craft the ultimate control circuit, which I think we can actually just do, but for the purpose of the quest line, we first need to make 4 elite control circuits, which should be pretty fast. Done. Put that in the inventory. Then we need to make, how many? Just 2. Just 2 ultimate control circuits. And done. Huh, surprising. It didn't make the really loud noise. I turned down weather. Does the weather effect control that? Maybe it does. But that pretty much handles all of Mekanism and all of its upgrades. Pretty self-contained chapter for Mekanism. Mekanism itself isn't really that complicated, especially once you've played it so many times. Like, this is pretty much everything. The only thing more complicated is probably setting up like the processing arrays to get triple like the ore output, but I never really go past triple because it's the easiest to set up. But now that this one is completed, we unlock what's left in the end, which is somewhere, because technically we've fully completed chapter 1 at this point. Now you can see there's a lot of blue here in chapter 3 and 4, a little bit at 5, but if you take a look, this is mostly, not directly related to other stuff. Although I do remember it saying that the gear icons are important for progression, but I think at least for the alloys, like alloys are really boring. I might as well set that up like automatically outside of this video. But now we can focus on chapter 2, a new focus, digging up dirt, where it looks like we're going to be crafting a whole lot of resources. Now technically, to finish this one, you only have to go here. But I'm thinking maybe we should go all the way down here and unlock every single crop. Now for the final part of the episode, I think it's time. I've been spending way too much time manually swapping items between our resource generators to keep things in stock. So right now, we're gonna keep producing That'll Do ingots and make another 27 That'll Do singularity resource generators and fully passive every singularity we've made thus far. Which in total, it looks to be 9 times 3, 27 plus 3, so 30 singularities in total. A lot of these we don't even need anymore, but we will have it, just because. And now, by placing these last 2 That'll Do singularity generators, the array is completed. See, I can't really get on top of it, but there are 30 resource generators in here, with chutes going into a drawer, all connected to the drawer controller. So now, all we have to do is start adding these, and it should work. So we get the diamond, we got the emerald. Emerald goes in there. Iron, zinc. That'll do. Oak, aluminum, steel. I'm not going to say all of these. We're going to do a little time skip. And lastly, carbon nanotube. And it's completed. So now if we come over here and take a look at our AE storage system, we can now view everything. And now it's very quickly filling up. And it's, what's the word? I wouldn't say it's always better to use drawers, but in this case, drawers are way cheaper than storage cells. Even though the storage cells would be a lot easier to manage because you could just have, one block over this many, drawers. But it is cool to see it all in physical space. And now that it's all fully connected into the AE system, we can route these as we please. And we should, in theory, never run out of anything anymore. But, as the sun sets on a new day, I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you all next time.